Why are you here? You come to see the people. You're not really a lapdog. You want to say hi? Yeah? Brilliant. You... Come on, go somewhere else. Hi everyone, today I was in the mood for talking about reading, specifically the books that I've read over the last 5 or 6 weeks since my last recent reads video. I'll link that one below in case you didn't see it and you'd like to have a look. I have really been enjoying reading lately. I think I've just felt the impulse to read more and I've made time and space for it in my life, and I think these things ebb and flow, but I think a part of it is that I went to the library, which I do a lot with my children, but I don't tend to get books out for myself because I cannot be trusted to return them on time. I have paid a lot of late fees in my life and I just quite often don't allow myself to go to the library. But I did, and I have been returning them. I have been very well behaved. I even went and renewed some, so well done me. But I think that that's given me a bit of oomph to read, and that's been nice. And I love the library, who doesn't? Anyway, so these are the books I've read over the last 5 or 6 weeks. As I said, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. I don't have any of them because a few, as I said, are from the library and they've gone back. And 2, 3, oh actually 3 of them are ones that I bought from charity shops, but I've passed them on through the book swap because I don't tend to keep fiction. So I did enjoy them, but I just didn't keep them because they were fiction. It's all fiction this time. I was going to say month. I don't do this monthly anymore. Maybe I will. Anyway, so the first one on my list is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, and I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I've seen this on Bookstagram, Booktube, but I just never actually picked it up, and I came across it in a charity shop and thought, oh, I must read that. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I'm going to have to check the names of the characters. I'm not very good at remembering what characters are called, and I know if you've read this, you're probably shouting at the screen about who it is, but I'm going to double check because I don't want to say the wrong thing. Oh, do you know what? It just came to me as I was scrolling. The character is called Star. So Star is a black teenager. She lives in a predominantly black area with a lot of issues around crime and gangs, and it's quite poor. It's a sort of tricky area, and she goes to a private, predominantly white school. So the book deals with themes around race and around community and crime and all sorts of those kinds of themes. She starts the book going to a party that she's not supposed to go to, and you meet some of the characters, and she meets up with an old friend called Khalil, and her and Khalil end up, there's a gunshot fired, and they leave the party in Khalil's car, and the car gets stopped, and Khalil is shot by a police officer. The rest of the book then follows what happens, so in terms of Star having been a witness, so it's what happens in terms of their local community, but also the case for the crime and the kind of outcry, and it's very, very interesting and well written because you've got Star navigating going to school and her friendships and how she's perceived by different groups and how she sort of fits in and how she feels and how she navigates the grief around what she's seen, but also the sort of ripple effect from that crime in different areas of the community. I think this is obviously a really important book. It's written in a way that really gives you an insight into how Star thinks and feels, and it highlights a really important thing that more people should be aware of and care about and take action against. And yeah, I felt really moved by it and shocked in certain parts. One thing I really loved is I'm very big on community and on people caring about each other and helping each other and working together, and I think that the commentaries around those elements I really liked about, you know, neighbours supporting neighbours and people trying to make a difference. And I really liked that, and I was really glad to have read it and gained an insight to the issues that were raised. I really, really liked it. Fully recommend. Very good book. The next book that I read was My Sister, the Serial Killer. Excuse me, looking down, I've got a list in front of me. This is by, I'm going to say this name wrong, Oyinkan. I'm so sorry, I've probably said that horribly wrong, Braithwaite. And this one again was one that I'd seen around, and when I saw it, I picked it up. This one I didn't enjoy as much. I thought it was a fun idea, like the concept behind it. So again, I'm going to have to look up the characters. Why can't I remember anyone's name? The main character is called, I think, Karidi. I'm probably saying that so wrong. I'm a school teacher, and this is like when I read the register and I go, I haven't seen that name before, and I take a guess. I'm going to go with Karidi. I'm sorry if that's really, really wrong. She is a nurse in a hospital in Nigeria. Her younger sister, which I think might be Ayula, is really, I'm going to go with Ayula. That feels right, but I'm really sorry if it's wrong. She is really beautiful and alluring. People are sort of drawn to her. And Ayula is a serial killer. And she phones her sister, Karidi. She gets the call, can you come? I've killed my boyfriend. And Karidi, because she's a nurse, she can go, she knows how to clear the situation up, she helps. So we start the book with that situation. Then as we go through the book, Ayula falls for somebody that Karidi knows. And so that's the situation that is navigated. You also have Karidi's relationship with the people she works with, and also with one of the patients. You kind of see how Karidi feels, how like her sister is seen as this really beautiful person, but yet she's awful, and it's navigating the sister bond and which I enjoyed the sister side of things. I like exploring those kind of relationships, and I thought it was a really interesting concept, but I just didn't enjoy the writing very much, and I found, I didn't get into that as much as I would have liked. I think because it's quite short and choppy, and I didn't like get right into the nitty gritty for me, but there were elements of it I quite liked. I also found, and I don't know if it's me and my attention span, but I struggled with the last few chapters. I sort of missed what had happened. When it got to the end, I was like, and then I looked up the ending, and then the ending seemed to be different on some of them, what they were saying had happened. I was like, no, that definitely didn't happen. And went back and read the last few chapters and was like, I'm so confused. So I think I might have missed something. But yeah, I was left kind of going, oh, all right. And I think I got the concept and what had happened. There's probably lots of you watching this going, seriously, it's so obvious. I wasn't left going like, wow, that was so interesting, and like with a moment, which I think was what was supposed to happen. You got the last chapter and went, ooh, but I got the last chapter and went, what? Had to look back. And I didn't get that kind of emotional thing about the sisters that I wanted. That said, that's me being super critical. I did enjoy it. I thought it was very readable, particularly because it was quite quick, fast-paced, short chapters. But liked it, didn't love it. Next one that I read was Shadows of the Workhouse by Jennifer Worth. That was hard to say with the braces. So this is book 2 in the Call the Midwife series. I came across this in the charity shop. I read book 1. I think I have book 1. And I was like, oh, I haven't read any more in the series. I used to love the programme, but I stopped watching it because I felt like it was, I mean, it's so well written, but it's set up to make you like, oh, and then, oh my God, and like play with your emotions. And I just, I found it like too sweet and too sad and just too much. So I stopped watching it. But that said, if it's on, I will stick it on because it's just sort of a pleasant, I suppose, almost chocolate box kind of programme to watch. Shadows of the Workhouse followed predominantly some stories around people who had links to the workhouse. So whether they had been in the workhouse and their different scenarios around that and how they met and interacted and their sort of different experiences. And it also contained, it sort of broke away into then a plot around the nuns. If you haven't seen Call the Midwife, it's about a convent that runs sort of midwifery and nursing care. So some of the characters are nuns and some of them are not. And they're all kind of nurses or midwives in some way or another. And it explores sort of social, economic situations in the East End of London from, I think it starts in like the 40s and then it carries through for a number of years. And so I really enjoyed this book because I think that there were things about the workhouse that I didn't know, and I think by addressing it from a personal standpoint, so somebody's interactions with that, and the way that looked at sort of different people's experiences and the knock-on effects throughout somebody's life, it was very moving. As I say, that's what Call the Midwife is. It's very, parts of it are really shocking and like, oh, and appalling and also really sad, and because it's people and it just kind of lays out things that happened. And as far as I understand, you know, this is Jennifer Worth's memories, memoir. So, I mean, yeah, it's stuff that happened. And I think it's really important to you know, give voice to people's experiences and to see the way that the shadow of the workhouse, as the book is called, that how the workhouse impacted on people's behaviour and reactions and their lives. I'm having problems with data errors on this camera lately. It makes me sad. I don't know if that's where it was. I've had this camera for 14 years. I bought it when my son, we bought it when our son was going to be born, so we could film things. And then we didn't use it for that because the file was huge. But I use it for YouTube. Don't die on me, camera. I don't know if it's the camera or the memory card. Might need to buy a memory card. Anyway, cool story. As I was saying, hopefully it got up to where I think it did before it data errored me. I feel a connection to the Call the Midwife series and books because my dad's side of the family are from London, and so sort of the way they talk and some of the things that they would talk about of like wartime London. My dad grew up in London, you know, in the 50s. So I do feel a sense of connection. So for me, I find these books very personal in a way, and I'm just quite, I feel they feel very readable and close to me, if that makes sense. But yeah, this book is very affecting, shocking, emotional, really well written. I very much enjoyed it. The next book that I read on my list is Half a World Away by Mike Gayle. I picked this up at the library because I liked the cover. It's a Richard and Judy book, apparently, because I just looked it up a moment ago to check the characters' names, and it said it was one of the Richard and Judy reads. Anyway, the main characters are Kerry, who is a single mum. She has a son. She lives on a council estate in London. She works as a cleaner, and she just does everything she can to be there for her son, provide for her son. She's a very doting mum, and she was put into care when she was little, and she had a little brother who she's lost contact with, and she desperately wants to be in touch with him. The other main character is Noah, who is a barrister. He has a big, beautiful house, wife, daughter, nice car, you know, and he was also put into care as a child, but he doesn't really, whereas Kerry is sort of talking about it and exploring it and trying to find her brother, Noah is just like, not bothered, not going to dwell on that. And it goes through their intertwining lives, and I just felt it was very emotional, easy to read, very thought-provoking, and yeah, I liked it. What a review. I would say my only criticism was that I think it was the son, Kerry's son, I felt he read a bit young, but otherwise, yeah, it just, in terms of their interactions and the things that happened, and it just was sort of heartwarming and beautiful, and I just really enjoyed reading it. I liked the themes around the sort of care system, and definitely something I'm interested in. I don't think I could be a foster carer, but I just have so much admiration and sort of interest in what happens there, and so I liked reading that situation. Really good book. Did I read this on holiday or something? But it's that kind of a read. It was nice. And then the last one I would like to talk about is Call of the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. Picked it up because it was about penguins. That's as far as that went. You can see how I choose books at the library. I didn't know it was a sequel. I would quite like to go back and read the first one, which is called something about penguins. I'll put it on the screen. So this book is, the main character is Veronica McCready, who is an old lady. Her granddaughter is a cancer, I'm trying to think if she is I don't think she's in remission. I think she's sort of post-treatment, I think. And her granddaughter is staying with her. Veronica has had this incredible life. She went to Antarctica, I assume in the first book, and has this relationship with penguins. And then you also have the characters whose names escape me, her son and I can't remember her son's name, and his girlfriend Terry, and his name's gone. They are on a research station researching penguins. And so in this book, it's about sort of familial relationships. So her son wants to find out more about his life. She is sort of looking back at her life as well. And it's a lot about people and relationships. I liked it because I thought the setting, the research setting, and as someone with a marine biology background, I enjoyed that. I actually once looked at working for the British Antarctic Survey. I got their application forms to apply for a job there, and then I didn't do it because I would have missed my own wedding. But yeah, I liked that setting because it's something I was interested in. I think this is one of those, again, like quite nice, fluffy reads. This is more fluffy than Half the World Away. But for me, I think the characters were... I felt their responses to things sometimes were a bit over the top or whiny, or like somebody would just seem to completely overreact to a situation, and then there was drama, and it was almost like that drama wasn't realistic, and of course it was to make the plot of the book more, but it just, yeah, it didn't feel like some of that was real. But that said, readable, enjoyable. I would say the Half a World Away I gave 5 stars on Goodreads. This one, 3 stars. Pleasant, not my fave. So yeah, really, I enjoyed all of those books. So it's been a nice few weeks. Let me know if you've read anything similar to any of these, you've got any recommendations for me. Let me know if you have read any of these and what you thought, because of course it may be wildly different to what I think. Thanks for watching. I will make another of these reading wrap-up type videos when I've read some more books. If you'd like me to bring back the monthly reading wrap-ups, let me know and I will. Anyway, thanks for watching and hit like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon for another video. Take care.